One more time. Go to your closet and pray. You demon. That's in reference to this issue here. The timeout closet. Sensory deprivation chest. Other things it's called. Isn't that a mess? Isolation tank. Closet. And I don't know if that light shuts off or not, you know. When they shut that door, it could be that the light will go off. I know ours wasn't padded. There's no place to sit down, like the mom was saying. The isolation booth. Ugh. Let's just X that out already, okay? And go to this. Child abusers, destructive use of timeout. Isn't that horrible? Excerpts from Reading, Writing, and the History Stick, or Hickory Stick. Aha. Little play on words there. History Stick. Well, I was going to try to widen this screen, but I guess I can't. Maybe I can if I pause. There we go. This isn't a very big article. But see, I also had the nosebleed because the teacher actually punched me in the face. And my mom wouldn't have known about it if I hadn't bled on my clothing and came home that way. So, yeah, state-sponsored torture paid for by your tax dollars. And chances are, and I don't want to look at it negatively, because that's no good, is it? But, man, this is stressing me like you would not believe. Excuse me. I don't even know where I was going with that previous statement now. It's just pretty sad. Sarcastically, this is a fine kettle of fish. And this set the tone for future years. You've got to know that. And I have been having these headaches. I don't know if they're stress or not. Stress induced. But when I cough, and I've told this to other people, it feels like my brain is slamming up inside my cranium. If you can imagine. And someone suggested that it could be a sinus headache. So, long-standing stress. I just can't imagine why anyone would think this is a good thing. It's a selfish thing. It's a very selfish thing to just remove someone from your situation because they're disturbing you and or your class. I mean, why wouldn't they take that opportunity for everyone to find out what is going on with that person, for them to be being this little terrorist? This one is about someone who's a first grader. But the news article earlier is about a second grader, and I was a second grader. So you see, I'm kind of heart-strung to this. And I don't remember ever being able to get my point across to my parents that this kind of thing was going on. I remember wanting to be held all the time. And my older sister, who's 10 years older than I, normally would be here when I got home from school, and I had to walk. And if I didn't walk with the neighbor guys, I was the only girl on the block, then I would just walk by myself or walk so far with some other girls, and then they would go their way and I would continue on my way. But when Mom and Dad got home, and it was usually Mom home first, I'd reach my arms up, hold me, you know. It was just basically nonverbal. She knew then to bend down and pick me up. And then her passing me off to Dad, and Dad getting busy and needing to set me down, so I would end up back with her. It was just a back and forth thing. Just hold me. I was like so needy, very needy. And my parents worked hard all their life, like many parents did. Oh, I know what I lost my train of thought about a couple minutes ago. These are the type of people, after this happens to them and it becomes a habit that's allowed to continue to happen, it'll happen again later. With mine, it skipped a few years before any other harassment at school happened. But those are the type of people who normally will end up on public assistance. So they're being set up from the get-go as being something nobody really wants to look at or should have to deal with, to be that way later on. Just like, though, in my stepdaughter's statement against me, while her case was supposed to be solely about her dad, so she kind of got off track, but kind of singling me out to be out with friends that I really didn't ever make. I had a few in high school, but they're either dead or have moved off, and if they are in town, I haven't seen them. And then I had the Girl Scouts and the Brownies. Well, I've seen 2 or 3 of those. And here recently, I've made a friend who's an advocate who knows someone who I actually went to high school with. But see, I had my little group of my cousin and her friends, and this person of our advocate, my friend, who I won't name, was kind of like a loner. Just wanted to do her stuff and get out of there. It didn't matter to her if she had party buddies or something to do on the weekend, or go to concerts, or dress like the rest of us, walk and talk like the rest of us. All that wasn't her bag. But she still is in town. So it's kind of strange that these people are set up from way back in grade school, elementary school, to be potential welfare recipients if that's a new way for you to look at it. They're being groomed to become slaves for a system that basically will reject them, even though they have to feed and house and care for them medically or psychologically. They're groomed from way back to be slaves to a system. Isn't that sad? So if that mistreatment in elementary school and even before would be stopped, maybe people wouldn't get the idea in their head that they're going to be subjugated, that they're going to be humiliated, that they're going to be punished for things they don't know they're doing wrong, and on and on. They wouldn't get that embedded in their thinking, that that's what they're about. Wouldn't that be great? That they're being groomed for nicer things instead of being on the rolls, the dole. I know I'm getting these rants going all of a sudden. But see, I was considered also by my stepdaughter to be like invisible, I suppose you could say. Well, Mom wasn't here, she was out running around, which just sort of validated her story, her sordid version of the story of being raped so many times a day. Well, Mom was gone at friends, which she doesn't have, but obviously that's not an issue in the world of CPS, who can just manufacture evidence. So she wasn't there to stop this crazy rapist. Well, you know what? There's got to be a way to prove my side of it, even though nobody really wanted to try, you know? So that's the kind of thing that I have my mind on all the time. Just like being written up by a social worker one time for having a dirty house. My house was clean. My mother came over all the time, except for on weekends or if they were at a convention or camping or something. She'd get there like between 10 and 10:30, and we'd do some work at the house, whatever it was, whatever we were doing, floors, wallpaper, painting, I don't know, whatever it was. And then we'd break for lunch and sit and watch our soaps. We watched 3 soap operas back then. See if I can remember them. General Hospital was one. I think it was the last one. And then there were 2 more, but I guess that really doesn't matter what it was. But we were in front of that TV 3 hours a day. And then after the last one, she'd gather her things and go home. But I'm just viewed as this thing that has a great deal of social life. So that brings me back to the question of, did my alter egos get out and run around and do stuff? If so, there should be a record. There should be some kind of something, you know, some mischievous thing I did, or got into some kind of mischief, or with the law.